We're good.
Wait a minute, something's okay. Good.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we're live. All right, lovely. Let me just check here.
Seems good to me. Should be good.
Okay, great. So, uh, 200th episode, everybody. Lovely, exciting. 8 years, 8.5 years in the making. God, I can't believe it.
Is it really?
Yeah, actually, it's probably 9 years because listen, we published our first episode in June of 2018, but it was this time in 2017 that you and I got together and said, we should have a podcast.
Yeah, you're
What
right.
will it be about? And we recorded some episodes and yeah.
Those
And
episodes might be lost to history. I don't know where they went or what they were even about.
uh we trashed them unceremoniously because they were awful.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
But then when we finally got into our groove, that's when we said, all right, now we're going to make the pillar episodes and push them out the door. And we did. And
Yay.
so here we are. Okay, so I'm
All
going to
right, well
count
let's count backwards.
and then we'll get going. 5, 4, 3.
So, Kip, what are we going to talk about today on episode 200 of the Cyber Risk Management Podcast?
Yeah, what a special episode. 200. We've been at this for years now. Just before I counted down the episode for us to begin, I had noted that 9 years ago, right now, you and I were just taking our first steps towards making a podcast together. Of course, we were both podcast enthusiasts, so it was actually pretty easy to convince you to do it. And so, man, we've covered so much, right? Data
Well,
breaches, regulatory changes, risk management of
we
all
we
kinds.
really have. We really have. I have to argue with you on one point though, which is when we started the podcast, I don't think I'd listened to more than a handful ever. Um,
Oh, well, you've
which apparently is
become.
not. I've become a major podcast aficionado since then.
All right.
But yeah, no, it was it was relatively new to me then, and yeah, that sounds right. I mean, we do what, uh, 26 a year roughly.
Yeah.
So 10 years should be 260. So yeah, that tracks.
Yep, it does. And you know what? I need to actually acknowledge that you took a leap of faith because I don't know why, but I had this idea that you were always a podcast booster, but the fact
No,
that you decided to do it without already feeling enthusiastic about it, well, all right, double congratulations
I
to
mean,
you.
I knew what podcasts were.
I
I would
know,
not have
but
considered myself to be like a major listener of them.
okay,
So
now
there you
you
go.
are,
Now I
and I
am.
love it.
Okay. So what are we going to talk about today though?
Yeah, so we're going to dive into what might be the most transformative shift in cybersecurity we've seen. Certainly, that I've seen since I started doing this work a million years ago, it feels like. But artificial intelligence, and look, I know that we're getting artificial intelligence fatigue. I understand that.
I don't think we can
But,
afford to, Kip. We
well,
can't get fatigued.
that's
I'm
the
sorry. I guess
thing.
we don't have the option to get fatigued
Yeah,
about
that's
AI.
really the thing, and I get it. If you're just somebody who, you don't have a use case for integrating AI into your work or something like that, into your life, you might be thinking, "What the heck? Who cares? This is silly." But we've been diving deeply into AI, generative AI now. I've been using it every day for the past 2 years at least, and yeah, there's a lot of froth and hype, but there's something real going on here too. And for us in cybersecurity, it's especially acute because there's a dual role here. You've got the potential for powerful defense, but we've got the reality of sophisticated attacks that are being AI fueled. And that's what we're going to talk about is like, how do you bring those in balance? What do you do? And um, yeah, and how bad is AI going to actually change the practice of cybersecurity? Its very self.
It exactly, and I think that we're going to talk a bit about how what impact AI has on the defender and the attacker, and just the overall emerging landscape. I mean, we don't we want this to we really struggled to come up with a topic for episode 200. But I think if there's anything worthy of episode 200 coverage, it is not just transformational in cybersecurity. I mean, arguably, it's one of the most transformational technologies, since the Industrial Revolution, or electricity.
It sounds
So,
like hype, but it really isn't.
but it's not. That's the thing. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
just not.
yeah, and before we dive into the substance, I just wanted to acknowledge, how much I appreciate our partnership over 200 episodes. It's a significant milestone. I think we've talked about it before, but I want to say that most podcasts don't even make it to episode 10. Um, and we're not shooting to be in the top 10 of podcasts worldwide. We're not competing with Joe Rogan or my new favorite Rest is History guys.
Hmm.
Um, uh, but we don't need to. That's not our goal, right? Our goal
No.
was always to create a podcast that we wanted to listen to and that we wanted to record for our own enrichment. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we've done very successfully. And the fact that people listen to us is great. But we're going to keep doing it
Yeah.
no matter what. So
On to episode 300, right?
on to episode 300. So and I think what's great about this episode topic is that it just proves, like, there's always something new to talk about. Like, everything is standing still. And Kip, I'm a huge fan of the title of your book and the book itself. Fire
Thank
doesn't
you.
innovate, but people do, right?
Yes.
And I think the 200 episodes of this podcast really just proves how much people innovate. And this AI thing is one of the ultimate examples of
Yeah.
that. And it's like, I mean, Kip, have you ever seen, I'm not saying you're old, Kip, but have you ever seen something change this rapidly in your career?
Well, I really haven't, and I have to say, that, I started working, um, out of college, in the early 1990s. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of transformative change in the workplace, and yeah, this feels different. This feels more fundamental. There's still, I mean, the hype train is the same. To be honest with you, lots of things are hyped. Blockchain, for example.
Oh
Uh,
God, blockchain.
and I think that's a great example because blockchain, to the best of my understanding, hasn't really changed society. I
Anything.
mean,
It doesn't. It's still looking for a use case, if you ask me, Kip.
I think so.
I was skeptical from the beginning. People thought it was going to be the biggest thing ever, and I was
Hmm.
just, I didn't see it back then. And and
You know what? I'm reminded of is another hyped technology that was like just awful at paying off on its promises. Do you remember the Segway?
Oh God, yes. I was actually thinking about that the other day. The hype for that, it was going to be this world transformational
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
transportation technology. And I remember people thinking, oh, is he going to unveil teleportation or anti-gravity? Or, it
Mm-hmm.
was stuff like that. And then what does it end up being?
A
It's
scooter.
a scooter. Um,
And now we have Paul Blart, Mall Cop, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I think peak segue was the SNL skits with Melissa McCarthy as I can't remember his name now, but one of Trump's uh, first term press secretaries. It's just hilarious, but she rides the Segway with the podium attached, and it's just hysterical. But Kip, that's a good point, and I think in some ways, AI is the counterpoint to that.
I
And
think
you know what?
so.
There's a lot of articles still. It's people are resisting. I think there are some people who, look, I think most people are ignorant, which is normal, of the impact that AI is having and will have. But there are also people who want to deny it. I'm not really sure why. I mean, I can guess, right? Maybe they feel threatened by it. Maybe they feel like, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know the psychology behind it.
Hmm.
Um, I do know that I have experienced multiple kind of hype cycles with
Hmm.
AI in so far, but I feel like now I have hit that plateau of productivity where
Yeah.
And really it's only going up. I mean, it's not it's the skepticism is gone, and I experienced it. I think we both
Hmm.
did at times
Yeah.
over the last
Yeah.
three years.
Absolutely. When I
Um,
first started using ChatGPT 3.5, I was like, "Oh my God, this thing's clunky as hell. If they could just make it better."
yeah, and I think back to like the original Chat GPT, which by the way we're recording this in early December of
Yep.
2025. It is worth pointing out that at this point, Chat GPT is like 3 years and a month or so old.
Hmm.
Like this is, I mean, historically, this is not even the blink of an eye. It's like your
No.
eyelid is even starting to go down. But in
Yeah.
AI world, in AI land, and in
It's
internet
all the
time,
difference.
it's all the difference.
All
And
the difference.
it
Nano
feels like
banana? Give me a break.
Nano Banana. I mean,
Wow.
it feels like a lifetime ago.
I
So,
know. And
so
listen, I have AI embedded in my daily work, and you do too.
oh, I do.
So it's not just, oh, one day it's going to be good. No, it's good for us now. We are making a
Yeah,
difference now. We're putting out better quality results to our customers as a result of AI, and we can serve more customers as a result of AI.
absolutely.
It's a double win, and even though it's going to bring other changes like the death of the billable hour, which is going to affect both of us, I still think
One
this
can
is
only
good.
hope that that happens.
Yeah.
Because Kip, I mean, AI AI for me, and I trust me, we're going to get into the substance of the discussion here, but I think this is all substantive, if you ask me. AI disconnects my value production from the time I spend, right?
Mm,
And I think that's been a common criticism of the billable hour concept for a long time now.
yeah.
And by the
And
way,
not just for the legal profession.
no, everywhere. Yeah, I mean, like consultants, legal profession. But what's interesting is I just learned that the billable hour as a concept is actually not that old, and it did start with lawyers, and then it
Mm.
spread into consulting and accounting and all the other places. So
Well, if you got
it,
us into this, you got to get us out of it.
I think we do have to get us out. But look, the reason that this matters is that what Kip and I are saying is that uh, AI today, even if it doesn't get better, which of course it's always getting better,
Yeah.
has already made massive differences in workflows, productivity, power, and it has done so more in some areas than others. There's no question that coding is going to be, forever altered as a
Right.
profession.
Right.
Um, is it going away? No, I think the hype about that was mistaken. It does mean that everybody is far more effective. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, it's
so,
just going to
so
change the nature of the work. It's just like
it
I
is.
think about factories where human beings used to be the muscle. Well, now robots are the muscle, and humans are like making sure that the brains of those muscles are
Yep.
programmed correctly.
Yep. Now check this out, Kip. Watch this like deft pivot into the full topic of the episode. What is malware made of, Kip?
Snips and snails and puppy dogs' tails.
I probably,
Is
I
that it?
suppose, but it's made of code, and we just
Yeah,
said that AI fundamentally alters the coding
that's right.
environment, the
That's
way to
right.
code.
For
So
better and for ill.
for better and for ill. So if we already know that, everybody is now what used to be that mythical 10x developer, that's a real problem for security practitioners
Yeah.
because every, you know, script kiddie is now, every script kiddie is now at least a competent programmer, and every competent programmer is now a 10x
Or
programmer
has the potential to be,
or
that's for
has the
sure.
potential to be for sure. And that creates, I mean, the explosion of malware hasn't happened yet, although it's starting to.
It's
But it isn't.
absolutely starting to.
But it isn't just the malware. It's Kip. Well, let's talk about it. So look, when we talk about AI risk management in the
Hmm.
cybersecurity
Hmm.
context, what are the primary concerns that organizations should be thinking about?
Hmm. Well, there's two big challenges that thematically that are coming at us, and by the way, for anybody who would like to really unpack this with me, because I'm not going to fully unpack it right now, but I do want to mention it. But I gave a keynote address um, at the Qualis Americas conference, and you can go look at it. It's up on YouTube, so if you just search my name, Kip Boyle Qualis, you'll find it. and so I unpack it more fully there. But briefly, there's these two forces. Okay, there's the cyber risks that are associated with our organizations adopting AI systems, right? So this is like internally, you're implementing AI tools, whether it's something like Copilot that's built into Microsoft's M365 stack, or maybe you're coding your own custom AI applications with foundational models and you're calling APIs and all that stuff. Doesn't matter. All of that is introducing new attack surfaces. And by the way, it's going to get even worse. My prediction for 2026 is that most of the new most of the data breaches in 2026 are going to come in a new way, which is through people trying to be more productive, but who are calling in through model context protocol AI tools, and those AI tools are going to slurp data
Yeah.
out of our computers through the firewalls. We have nothing
No.
to use right now to detect that that's happening, let alone to do something about it.
And
So we have all this new attack surface, privacy concerns.
yep.
There's not even compliance considerations are kind of broken because I don't think the compliance regimes have contemplated these new ways of processing data, of having decisions be made by artificial intelligence based on data which no doubt is going to be biased in some way or other, and that these systems can be manipulated or exploited. So we've got that. So that's one whole dimension that's pressing on us. Now you were going to say something.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I love MCP, but not for enterprise use yet, not for business purposes. It's just not secured as far as I can tell. It
Yeah,
scares
well,
me.
it's Netscape Navigator 1.0. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like
So
it's this new thing. It
yeah,
doesn't. It's not really industrial strength yet for the kinds of security
no,
challenges.
not at all.
So we've
Okay,
got
so
all these
yeah, so
internal challenges.
that's point one. Okay,
Yep.
point two is
Now
even point two is even scarier in some ways.
it's scarier, but we can't lose sight of either one of these,
No, we cannot.
and that's the real problem, right? Is the exterior threat landscape itself. And I say exterior because I think that is where most of the problem is, but we have internal threats too, right? That we have to also pay attention to. So, but listen, our adversaries are adopting AI tools to enhance their attack techniques. We've seen this. If you subscribe to my Inflection Point, I've been writing about this now for weeks and weeks, how AI is changing the way that we're getting attacked. Phishing's becoming more convincing, automated reconnaissance, scaling operations, lowering the bar to being able to perform very sophisticated cyber attacks with very little know-how in the person's brain, because they've got this second brain, artificial intelligence, that's amplifying their intent. So what do we need? Okay, we're defenders, right? What do we have to do? Well, we're getting smashed from both sides here, and it's a lot to ask for. Plus, we have all of our blue team activities that we're already engaged in. So it's just piling on. It's an arms race, and how do you adapt? I mean, that's, I think, really the issue here. And if you can't figure out how to adapt, you're at a severe disadvantage.
Yeah, and that second point is particularly concerning from a risk management perspective, Kit, because we have spent years building security programs around, and this is normal, by the way. We always do this. You can't not do this, but you spend your years building security programs around certain assumptions about attacker capabilities and resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Middle Ages, you built your castle because you assumed that the attackers wouldn't be able to instantly tunnel through or knock down your giant stone walls, right?
Yep.
This is really important. Now, if I'm in the Middle Ages and some time traveler gives a besieging, medieval army an M1 tank and says, "Here you go," well,
How
that
about
really,
drones?
or drones. I mean, but either way, it's different, right?
Right.
The bottom line is that it changes the attacker capabilities and resources dramatically, and
Yeah.
AI. It's not an if. AI does fundamentally change what attackers can do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not sure I want to say it invalidates a lot of existing controls, but it definitely makes them insufficient, right? They're
Necessary
not,
but insufficient.
they're necessary still, which is why I
Yep.
didn't want to say invalidate, but they are insufficient.
Right. So we need more controls and so on and so forth. And it's not just that we need more controls, but with AI, I also think that the challenge is we've got to stop, to the extent that we are the department of no, we've got to stop doing that. And and that's one thing that I'm teaching people now is, look, when you're going to do AI security, it's not just about, do we have insufficient security? It's really important that we know if we have too much security, because that is going to create an innovation risk. I can't innovate fast enough with AI, which means we're going to fall behind, all because Kip's ridiculous security controls are stopping me. So that's another whole thing. We can talk about that later. But here's the thing: whether it's the internal issues or the external issues, one theme I think is really important, which is speed is the new firewall. Whether that's speed of how fast can I review the use case for an AI implementation internally. I can't take 6 weeks to do that. I got to do it in 24, 48 hours if I want people to continue to come back to me.
And
And
for some people, 6 weeks would be fast, right? We
possibly.
yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, possibly. But whatever you're doing, you got to get faster at doing the internally facing work that you're already doing, and then you've got to get faster at dealing with these external issues. Like I wrote an inflection point about this. There's a whole bunch of EDR killers out right now. So we've got ransomware with built-in EDR destructive capability. So in other words, this stuff lands in your network, and then it goes out, finds your EDR, and shuts it off silently, and then it proceeds to kill you. We've got other code that is polymorphic. Now, we've seen polymorphic code before, which means the code changes itself so that its signature is constantly changing, making it difficult to detect. But now we've got polymorphic code with a built-in local large language model, right?
Or even a
edge
small
device.
language model.
That's what I'm saying. A small,
Small language model.
it's a large language model, but it's been miniaturized and highly focused on just prosecuting its polymorphic mission and it rewrites itself completely on the devices that it lands on. It's mind blowing how fast this stuff is accelerating. And look, if you can't detect that quickly and then contain it and respond to it, then we're just going to get pwned more and more and more. So so we need to shift towards AI driven defense. We have to be able to operate at machine speed. We got to block threats in real time. This is a real paradigm shift because like data loss prevention, that whole product space. How many people actually have DLP deployed in block mode? Hardly anybody.
Yeah.
Because why? Because it's inevitable you're going to block legitimate business, and that is intolerable. But okay. Yeah, but the stakes are so much higher now. So it's really tough, and there's no commercially available products that are solving these problems yet.
No, and I mean, I love the framing that speed is the new firewall. And it also suggests, though, that the nature of security operations has to fundamentally change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that practical side. How is AI, both on the attack and defense and just the threats and the threat surface, how is it changing day-to-day security operations, particularly areas like SOC operations and monitoring?
Yeah, well, so lots of interesting stuff here. I also later on in the episode want to mention about another blue team activity, which is looking at the systems development lifecycle, because I think there's some really interesting things that we really need to explore there if we have time. But look, everybody knows that security operations centers where alerts are being monitored, very labor intensive, prone to a lot of human error, and you've got these endless alerts coming up, and human beings trying to distinguish between what's a false positive, what's a real threat, how can I do data correlation. It's so tedious, it's expensive, it's hard to do well. Most outsourced SOCs are tempted to tune their systems to minimize the number of alerts that they get, and so it's just a mess. Now, AI could change the equation dramatically, right? Because I think you'll soon be able to deploy AI agents that are going to do the continuous monitoring, the pattern matching, the event correlation, and and if you trust it, to even take some automated response actions. And I think we're going to get to a point where even if we don't trust it, we're going to have to essentially shoot now and ask questions later, because it's just going to get more and more um, lethal, right?
I mean, we're heading to Neuromancer, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I just saw a that I can't remember which streaming service, but someone's finally going to try to make Neuromancer into I think a
Okay.
TV
Now,
show.
for the young bucks listening and the young does listening, Jake, what's Neuromancer? Tell them, because this is something they should know.
Neuromancer is a foundational piece of fiction written by William Gibson in the 80s that
Science fiction,
really
right?
science fiction that really coined the term cyberpunk.
Mm.
And it's about artificial intelligences, augmented humans, all kinds of stuff. It's not going to seem as science fiction now as it did in the 80s.
Yeah.
But
So
everyone's heard of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm sorry. What is it?
I'm sorry, Dave.
I'm sorry,
I
Dave.
can't do
Dave. Yes,
that.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. It's HAL 9000. Wintermute is one of the AIs in Neuromancer,
Mm.
and but the reason I brought it up is that in the world of Neuromancer, your security is I mean, when you're talking about the internet and digital security, it's AI versus AI, right?
Yeah.
Humans can't they can't
No.
do it fast enough.
No.
And
Now you're talking about Star Trek episodes where all war is conducted by algorithm.
yeah, well, I wish that was a Star Trek episode. I mean, because literally
It
that's what's
actually was
already.
in the original series. There was
No,
one.
no, no. It is. I'm saying what I meant by that, Kip, was that's already starting to happen in Ukraine. So when I say I
Yeah.
wish it was a Star Trek episode, I wish it was
Oh,
only in a Star
yeah.
Trek episode, but
Okay, I get
it's
it.
not.
Yeah.
And so that is the issue here, right? And with traditional SOC operations, being so labor intensive, is it fair to think of AI agents, as starting to be some kind of, unlimited manpower, even though that's not strictly speaking
Well,
true? Like, how
yeah.
do we think about this?
Well, I think it is. I think it is possible because, like right now, we already know that Anthropic's Sonnet, I think, and Opus AI,
Claude. Yeah, Claude.
yeah, Claude, yeah, Anthropic's Claude Sonnet and Claude Opus. They've already announced that they've been able to get them to program for 30 hours straight or something like that, and to actually, build very complicated things. So if that's true with coding, then I don't see why it couldn't be done for, compliance monitoring and SOC, alert monitoring, detection tasks. And even some things that we don't, necessarily do today because it's so labor intensive, like insider trading reviews, right? Looking for
Yeah,
suspicious
yeah.
patterns, HIPAA
I would.
compliance monitoring,
I mean,
things like that.
I think that kind of fully autonomous behavior is not far off.
I don't think it is. I have not been made aware of a commercial product that can do it yet, and satisfy the needs
No,
completely. I would imagine anything out there right now is still a little bit,
but
preliminary.
and let's just highlight. Let's just say it takes a full. Let's say it takes another full year before we have almost fully autonomous monitoring systems like this
Mm-hmm.
powered by
Mm-hmm.
AI. Just think about that. That means that in less than half a decade, we went from a system that could create entertaining poetry, but that quickly got boring because you're like, oh, I see what it's doing, but still was amazing at the time, right?
Yeah.
GPT 3.5
Mm-hmm.
to a fully autonomous system that continuously monitors your network for traffic that might be suspicious and can take action to block it. I mean, that
Yeah.
is insane.
It is incredible cycle time, no doubt. Um, and at the same time, of course, it's going to raise new privacy issues, employee relations
Yep.
questions. I mean, there's all kinds of unintended consequences. So that kind of brings us back to what do we do about it, right?
It does, and that brings us back to the AI risk management framework question. Right now, we've talked about the NIST AI risk management framework.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it came out what feels like, I mean, it does feel like a lifetime ago, Kib.
Yeah. Even though we
And
did 2 episodes on it already.
Yeah, but I looked back, and I mean, it was a couple of years ago, which
Mm-hmm.
isn't long, but in this space, again,
It's forever.
it's forever. And you and I we've discussed. I can't remember if we discussed it live on the show or just together, but how we've talked about how, neither of us, despite our best intentions, has really extensively been able to use the NIST AI risk management framework with clients. Um, do you think that framework is already obsolete, or do you think that it is conceptually adequate, but adoption is just not there, and we need more practical assistance with getting it into use? What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
Well, okay. So first of all, let me affirm what you said. No customers of ours have come and said, "Help us adopt the AI risk management framework." Certainly not like we do have customers coming to us saying, "Hey, we want to adopt the NIST cybersecurity framework. Help us do that." So, but you have to remember that framework has been published for 10 years, and now it's really starting to get a lot of traction. But yeah, the AI RMF
And Kip,
isn't.
just to point out, I mean, one could argue that the NIST CSF was kind of a holdout of, specific nerds who loved it for a while. It's only in the last handful of years that it has really become more and more widespread. So I suppose
Yeah,
the point
that's what I
there is
mean.
just that,
Yeah.
yeah, I know that's what I figured you meant, is the RMF just hasn't had a chance.
I think part of it is it hasn't had a chance. Uh, so we need to give it that. But what I will tell you is that we find it instructive, right? Because even though they're not coming to us and saying AI RMF, they're still coming to us and saying AI security.
Yes,
Okay,
they
well
are.
we can look at AI RMF to structure our work, and so that's absolutely happening. Now, I will also say that the AI RMF is clunky. And if you go back and listen to the episodes, the two-part episode that you and I did, Jake, where we actually like almost, paged through the AI RMF, one page at a time, making comments and observations. It's just as clunky as it's ever been, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're working on a revision to it. However, there are some really great insights in there. And one thing that I want people to know, and I don't know if this came through in our two-part episode, but the framework kind of conflates two things: people who buy AI solutions and people who build AI solutions.
It's
And
true.
so what we've done to serve our customers is we've actually pulled the AI RMF apart, so that we've got one version, a profile of it focused on buyers of AI, and another one focused on builders of AI. So that's something that if you're going to use it, just make sure you acknowledge that. But what we've actually found is that right now targeting or focusing on AI use cases is really productive. Understanding what are the risks for specific applications, specific workflows that you're going to re-engineer, and then not only making sure that you've got appropriate controls to deal with inadequate amounts of security, but you've also got to make sure that you're not over securing it. And I don't mean just technical controls, I mean policy controls, cultural norms, that sort of thing. Because if you do that, if you're in that territory, then as I said earlier, you're not going to get the innovation that is part of the business case for doing AI at all right now. And that
Yeah.
course that you and I were discussing, Jake, that we're teaching now, that's really what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to give practitioners a real practical methodology. We've actually given it a name, the AI Risk Management Action Plan, or AIRMAP. I like that alliteration. And it helps people in cybersecurity right now work through the AI risk management in a structured but accessible way. And it's inward focused, right? This is about how are you going to deal with that pressure that's coming at you around internal AI adoption. And it's not just about check boxes and, making, what I call cans of auditor be gone. This is real risk awareness and decision making that you can actually talk about with your boss.
Yeah, and I think that practical focus makes a lot of sense, and it frankly is crucial. Now, I think it's worth. I think you and I have both moved past this concern, but let's address what I think is on a lot of people's minds, and that is job security,
Mm,
with respect to AI. And one of the reasons that people will poo-poo AI is there's misinformation out there about the environmental cost. Is it free environmentally? No. Is it as bad as air travel? Absolutely not. And
it's not as bad as all the leaky pipes in the United States of
not even close.
losing
No.
water.
Yeah, not even slightly. So that's not an issue, really. I think the other side of it though is this job security issue, and the feeling is if AI can automate so much of what security professionals currently do, or replace security with any professional, lawyer or whatever, right? What happens to those jobs, and are we automating ourselves out of work? And I, well, why don't you answer, and then I'll give some additional color about what I think and how my thinking has changed even in the last couple of months.
Well, that's the thing; it's all moving. So anything we say right now is subject to correction later on. But okay, I think it's a legit concern. Look, I've got 3 kids that haven't made it to high school yet. I got a 7th grader and 2 5th graders, and I am just racking my brains trying to figure out how this is going to affect the way that they live their lives, by the time they've got to make a decision. Am I going to go to college? What am I going to study? What kind of jobs do I need to do? So, but there's a lot of nuance here. It's more than just AI is going to eliminate jobs, because I'm already seeing signs that it's not that we won't need people. It's just that what we're going to need them to do is going to shift. Yes. And that may result in some net loss of certain jobs, but I really do think it's going to result in a net creation of other jobs. And right now, I can't predict too far into the future. Nobody can. But right now, what I'm seeing is any tasks that are tedious and repetitive, those are the ones that are probably going to get AI-ified first, right? Reviewing alerts, correlating logs, running routine vulnerability scans, documenting findings, even some of the rote penetration testing work is probably going to be automated by AI. And, this is necessary work. And if we can automate it, why should human beings continue to do it if we're getting at least good enough results, right? So,
well, I mean, it's Kip. Does anyone complain that a hole is dug using a backhoe as opposed to men with shovels?
The person who used to dig holes with shovels but doesn't get paid to do it anymore is going to.
I mean, that's I guess my point is that's the story of technological change, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but this is different though, right? We've talked about
I mean, it is and it isn't, right? I mean, I agree. Like, and that's what I've been struggling with, Kip, is that for a while I was like, oh no, this one's really different. But Kip, Jevons paradox states that when some resource cost decreases, that contrary to potentially your assumptions, the demand for it does not decrease; it goes way up. And electricity is the perfect example of this.
Yeah.
But I think what we're calling, broadly speaking, intelligence is going to be this as well. And I've been thinking a lot about this in the legal context, right? Mm-hmm. Should people even bother going to law school? What I realized is that absolutely, and in fact, I would say that the practice of law has never looked more interesting, because all of this crap that is boring, that you don't want to do, that is doc review, that is rote, that isn't super valuable, can be done by AI. And what it means, does it change the profession? Yes, it absolutely changes the profession. But you know what? So did putting a desktop on every desk. So did getting rid of the rooms full of typists who used to do that. All of that changed the profession. And that's going to be the same here. I'm not, and just to be clear, like, I'm not saying that you're not also correct, or that the people who say it aren't also correct, that there is something somehow different. But I mean,
there's the near term and the long term.
There's the near term and the long term, yes. And near term, there's going to be perhaps wider spread job disruption than with other technologies. That's an argument that I can buy, where it's like, okay, well, AI is so general purpose that it's going to be different than previous technological paradigm shifts, because 50% of the market is being impacted at once and potentially losing their job, instead of only 2%. Okay, maybe. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that it is at least plausible. But Kip, let's look ahead a little bit, recognizing that we are running short on time. you know, it's more about role evolution than role elimination, and the skill set required is shifting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's correct as far as I can see. It's why we have to continue to learn and adapt. That's always been critical for our field. It continues to be critical now. What will the cybersecurity professional of 2030, look like? But I think that we need to be as comfortable working alongside AI agents as we are, working with automated vulnerability scanners, log aggregators. I currently see AI as a way of augmenting human intelligence and human capability. Steve Jobs said that a computer is a bicycle for the mind. Well, maybe AI is a motorcycle for the mind or a rocket ship for the mind. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what the analogy is most apt there, but you need to start, trying to figure this out. You don't want to wait till your competitors figure it out, your adversaries figure it out. My call to action to you is start experimenting with AI assisted, security work. And at least at that point, you'll know firsthand, what's real and what's
Yeah.
not real. You can discern like, oh, this is the hype train right now, or no, it's not.
Yep. And I think that's the forward-looking message that really is appropriate for our milestone episode
Mm-hmm.
200, right? Organizations need to be preparing for a future that is arriving continuously, right?
Yeah.
And it is arriving so much faster than we've been used to, even in the internet age, right? I
Yeah.
mean, internet to me, internet time doesn't encompass adequately AI time, right?
Mm-mm.
Like
No,
it's a different speed.
it is.
And so given that, Kip, and by the way, I want to just really reiterate the need to experiment. I think safely experimenting with AI is crucial to understand how to use it. There are no
Yeah.
manuals. There's no
Right.
there's
You
no
got to get in
easy
and just
way.
do
You
it.
just got to get in and do it. So
Yeah.
so with that, and again, recognizing that we want to wrap this episode up pretty quickly here, what are the first steps that you'd recommend for an organization that is taking this seriously? And by
Yeah.
the way, you all should take it seriously, but
Yeah.
what are your steps?
Yeah. So here's three things. You're a cybersecurity professional, and you want to deal with the coming change, right? This transformative technology. The first thing is you want to inventory your current and your planned usage. It's going to be difficult to do this because there's going to be a lot of shadow AI, but not all of it is, right? You might be surprised how much AI is already in your environment. One person I was talking to recently went out and did this, and they were surprised at how much AI wasn't in their environment. So sometimes, we make up that the situation is worse than it really is. But you got to go out and try to understand, what's going there, what's already going on. That's number one. Number two, I want you to have an AI acceptable use policy, and it can be very, very basic, but you got to have something that gives people some guardrails so that they can make some good decisions about using AI. It's got to help them understand when's it appropriate. What are the security and privacy requirements? Who has to approve new AI use cases? You don't need something perfect, but you got to get something out there. And then the third thing is I want you to start building AI capabilities in your security operations. And this could be as simple as using an AI assisted tool for log analysis or threat intelligence. We're already doing that. Customers I know are already doing that. And it's a great way to start cutting your teeth on this. But you're going to have to start, somewhere. So just start doing it. Get some muscle memory going here. Start building some conceptual models in your brain about how to think of it. I quite frankly think of AI as an intern, a very eager intern that sometimes makes mistakes, but that I can, instruct and correct and still get useful results
Yep.
from them. So that's how we're thinking about it right now.
Yeah, and just think back to merely one episode ago, episode 199, where we talked about how a phishing attack and ransomware deployment can
Yeah.
be completed in 25 minutes, right? You do
Mm-hmm.
not want to be on the receiving end of that and not be ready with your own AI
No.
defenders. So,
No.
okay, so Kip, those are great. Those are concrete, actionable steps. They position an organization to begin to take advantage of AI's benefits while managing the very legitimate real risks.
Yep.
So,
And
so
thinking about the threat landscape. Mm-hmm.
yes, exactly. So as we wrap up this milestone 200th episode, any final thoughts on where this is all heading?
just be prepared for more change. Just more and more and more change. We're at an inflection point. It's a gray zone. I know that human beings don't like gray zones. They don't like uncertainty. But that is what we're going to have to be facing. We're facing it now. We'll continue to face it for a while. So just hang on. Talk to other people, and try your best to keep up.
And
So
for us as working in security, as security professionals, this really is an exciting time. And yeah, it's challenging and it does require us to adapt, but we are helping to shape how society deploys one of the most powerful technologies ever developed, and that is meaningful work.
I think it is too. All right, that wraps up this special 200th episode of the Cyber Risk Management Podcast. Today, we explored the transformative impact of artificial intelligence on cybersecurity, both as a risk to manage, and also as a powerful tool that we're going to need for defense against the attackers that are already using it, right? Speed is your new firewall, everybody. We discussed how AI is changing the threat landscape, revolutionizing security operations, and it's really just reshaping the entire profession. So thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.